Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Wonderful to see so many faces in this fantastic venue. Welcome to Friends House. I know you're going to be as excited as I am to be welcoming Jon here this evening for this very special evening. Thank you so much for being here. And first of all, sorry to those of you that had to queue in the cold on this bitterly cold evening. As you can tell, it's a very popular event this evening. So thank you for bearing with us as we got everyone in. And it's great that we have managed to get everyone in, even those who came without tickets at the last minute. So welcome. My name is Mark Williamson. I'm Director of Action for Happiness. We're the organisation that's putting on this event this evening. And what I'm going to do is very quickly tell you a couple of things about our organisation, and then we'll introduce Jon, who I know you've all come to see, and we're going to have a good sort of hour and a half of Jon's time with questions, a chance for you to both listen and also to ask Jon questions, and we've got microphones all around the building. So very much looking forward to having all of you involved in this event as well. So very quickly about Action for Happiness. Hundreds of you, I think, in the audience will be members of our organisation already and supporters, so thank you for that. But for those of you who aren't familiar, we are, sort of as the name suggests, a movement of people taking action to try and create a happier world. And that means both in terms of what we call for from our political leaders to focus on ways to maximise human well-being, but also the way in which we approach our own lives, the way we treat each other, the way we live as parents, as colleagues, as neighbours, and the things we can do in our schools and our workplaces to try and encourage a happier and sort of more coherent and caring society. And for us, mindfulness is at the heart of one of the building blocks of a happier world, of a flourishing world where we do whatever we can to maximise human well-being. I'm sure in this room there are many experienced practitioners of mindfulness, but maybe some of you are not so familiar with it, and I'm sure Jon will have wisdom to share with all of us this evening. But certainly, if you care about, as we do passionately, building a happier world, a world that gets its priorities right, then mindfulness is such an important part of that. So absolutely delighted to welcome Jon here this evening to be with us. If you would like to find out more about what we're doing, do visit actionforhappiness.org. We have a growing community of something like 80,000 members and supporters and followers in 100 plus different countries around the world. And we have practical activities in schools, in community groups, in many different areas. So if you share our passion for trying to shift focus away from growing the economy at all costs to trying to help grow human well-being and happiness, then please join us if you haven't already. But to introduce Jon this evening, I'd actually like to welcome up one of our founders, Lord Richard Layard, who, if you know anything about this area at all, will know is perhaps more than anyone done wonderful things to promote the happiness agenda, both in the UK and globally. As an economist, he has for many years been encouraging those right at the top of decision-making around the country and around the world to focus on human happiness and well-being as a priority. He knows Jon well and has been a great supporter of, I think, everything we're going to be talking about this evening. So please join me in welcoming Lord Richard Layard to introduce Jon.
Well, how lovely to see you all here. I don't want Jon to think that all our meetings are like this, but it's lovely to have you all here, and of course, we know why you're here. As you all know, Jon is the man who brought mindfulness to the West. That was 35 years ago. It was an incredibly daring thing to do, but since then, millions of people have taken his mindfulness-based stress reduction course. They've benefited. Clinical trials have showed that they are happier, healthier, better at work, better as husbands, better at everything, because perhaps more than anything else, they have learnt self-compassion. And that's incredibly important. But mindfulness is more than self-compassion. Mindfulness is also compassion for others. And if we're thinking about Action for Happiness, how we can have a happier society, that, of course, is an equally essential element. And it's critical that we have more compassion to others. We see that in the political process and in our society and our communities. And it's because of that side of it that the day before yesterday, Jon was going the rounds, meeting people in number 10, meeting shadow cabinet people, also meeting some parliamentarians, including myself, who've taken the first ever mindfulness course for parliamentarians. It was a great experience, actually. I thoroughly recommend any mindfulness course. It's coming out of the Oxford Mindfulness Centre, and we had two wonderful teachers, and it's going to be repeated in the Parliament because the demand is so great. But from that, more than ever, I've become convinced that this mindfulness movement is going to be, historically, one of the great forces for good in the first half of the 21st century, something that people will really write about as something which took humanity forward and up. Perhaps the most important thing is going to be what happens with our children. And there was a wonderful conference here yesterday on mindfulness in schools, and just to show you the importance of that, as far as I'm concerned, is that I'm involved with a pilot study to reform the secondary school PSHE curriculum that's going to be starting this September, and we are ensuring that mindfulness is both an element in it and part of the daily practice at every single PSHE lesson. I think that this is going to be something, a wave that is going to go through our schools. We'll see, hopefully, calmer, happier children as a result of this mindfulness movement. So don't let me spend any more time. We need Jon to tell us how to be more mindful. Jon.